Holmes, 5 to 10. Right, and he can really sing. Oops! Oh!
You gonna hear about my party? They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me.
Yeah, the viral resurface moments just keep coming in the wake of Diddy's racketeering and sex trafficking indictments.
It's ridiculous. It seems like there's something new every day. As I said before, I'm innocent.
Where no arrests were made.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Now this is what the music industry is all about.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Okay, that cold open was straight fire. That is so powerful. That was so
I know. Shout out to Taylor Lorenz's ex-wife, our cold open editor in chief. Just totally killing it. Just really awesome.
That was amazing. That's actually the first time I'm seeing it. Life happens, and we started a little later today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just the intro is blowing me out of the water. An authentic Valley Girl reaction.
Yeah. We appreciate Taylor for sure.
Absolutely. So welcome back to Facts and Sass. I am Valley, your common sense advocate, yet always a suspicious SoCal girl.
Absolutely. And I'm Biddy, your fast-talking New Yorker with a finely tuned BS detector.
Yeah, she knows. Don't mess with her.
She knows.
She knows.
Sorry.
Oh
I can never hear that without hearing that. Sorry.
I know. Now, before we get into the current trial of Diddy, I know we're all trying to, get itching to that. And a lot of people have covered it as well, right? But this is our take on it. And we must all remind you that this isn't the first time that Diddy has faced charges. If we quickly dive into a wild chapter from the late 1990s, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, again, like too many aliases. It's like...
Yeah, it was like on the court document too. They made sure that they got all of his aliases just in case.
Yes. I mean, yes, legally speaking, you must have every name you've ever gone by listed. So, again, with him in the 90s with Jennifer Lopez, they found themselves in hot water over a nightclub shooting in Manhattan. Now, again, this was December 27th, 1999 at Club New York in Times Square. A fight broke out between Diddy and a man named Matthew Scar Allen. Gunshots rang out and 3 people were injured during this. And Diddy and J-Lo fled the scene in a car. That's kind of like when things spiraled because you'll see for yourself. We have this archive clip here to give you a sense of what went on. And I would say it's pretty accurate.
Absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
let's take a look.
The jury now appears to be focusing on the gun possession and bribery charges against Sean Puffy Combs. This afternoon, jurors sent the judge 2 notes, one of which asked for a transcript of a phone message Combs left Wardell Fenderson, once his driver, now the prosecution's star witness. During the trial, Fenderson testified that Combs was armed the night of the shooting at Club New York, and later pressured him to claim ownership of a pistol police found when they pulled over Combs' Lincoln Navigator as it fled the shooting.
And I just want to make you feel like comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Make your family feel comfortable.
What exactly Combs meant by that is in dispute, but the prosecution claims the rapper offered Fenderson $50,000 or a diamond ring to take the rap for the gun. The jurors also wanted to hear a readback of testimony relating to Combs' former girlfriend, actress-singer Jennifer Lopez, who was in the Navigator when it was stopped by police. An officer testified that everyone in the SUV was ordered to put their hands on the vehicle, but Lopez walked away, saying she was going home. As she was being detained, a gun was discovered in the vehicle. At that point, a sergeant on the scene ordered everyone who was in the vehicle under arrest. The officer quotes Lopez as saying, "It's not my gun."
Yeah, so just insane. You know,
Right? He's always on the scene. He's always on the scene, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's on the scene with Suge Knight and Biggie, or the fling the night of this scenario where there is a nightclub shooting in Manhattan. Like, why is he always there?
I know. Well, maybe he's just trying to keep up with that bad boy image, and you know, it's kind of like you promote the bad boy image to your audience, right? But your audience, you know, the regular people, they would get thrown in jail. But he's got the resources to just play these games and get out. Yeah.
And it's kind of like what Prince was saying, right? That we discussed in one of our earlier episodes, where, you know, we have this genre of music that is you know, just the imaging,
promoting the worst,
the messaging, I would say, is promoting
imaging too. Because you think about, I mean, we're going to get into this too, because when we dive into like the satanic stuff, but like, if you think about your subconscious and what it's seeing, like, think about like, you know, movies and stuff like that, or TV shows like American Horror Story, when you see like the intro and it's flashing all these really disturbing images, you don't have time to process it like in the front. You know, it's processing though in the back of your head, and it does have an impact on you.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy. And then you heard the allegations by his former driver saying he was offered money to take the rap for the crime. Keep that in mind as we go through this, because that kind of stuff will come up again. So they raced away from the area. They ran a red light. They were pulled over. NYPD then found a stolen 9mm pistol in the vehicle. Diddy and J-Lo were arrested, along with rapper Shine and bodyguard Anthony Wolf Jones. And just a quick summary about Shine, because he is important. Of course, he's the one that went to jail for all of this. He was born in Belize City, but moved to New York City as a child and began to rap as an adolescent. And he's perhaps best known for his 2000 singles, Bad Boys and Bonnie and Shine. He also wrote and performed on a number of studio albums for other artists. So he was like in the mix, you know, so he did that for Notorious B.I.G., the posthumous Born Again, Mace's Double Up, Puff Daddy's Forever, Usher's Confessions. That's a really popular one. So if you know These Are My Confessions, that song, he was part of that, which was a good song. And Lil Wayne's Carter 4, among others. And we'll get back to him in just a bit. So Lopez was held for like 14 hours, reportedly handcuffed to a pole in tears, before charges were dropped against her. So she must have been like, you know, for you millennials out there, she must have been bugging.
Yeah, no, for sure. We actually have an article from the LA Times from that year, 1999. So let's check that out and go through what happened, if you're able to pull that up.
Absolutely. Let me just, before we even go there, hold on. Let me just zoom so we can read it like normal, like every other people that have good sight. Go ahead.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've told you the story of how I found out I was blind, right?
Yeah, I think I have to put like a little post-it
Yeah.
too on my control button. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Puff Daddy Combs arrested in New York. This is December 28th, 1999. And it says rap entrepreneur Sean Puff Combs was charged Monday with criminal possession of a weapon after a gun was found in the sport utility vehicle in which he and actress singer J-Lo were riding following a shooting that wounded 3 people at Times Square Dance Club. I don't think that still exists, does it?
I don't even know. Maybe not.
It
A lot of these older clubs.
It sounds very
closed down.
like dated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another rapper, Jamal Barrow, 19, was arrested outside the club in possession of a gun and later charged with 3 counts of attempted murder. Barrow, a highly touted new performer known professionally as Shine. Okay, so that's a connection right there. That's his government name, right? Is signed to Combs' Bad Boy record label and was a guest on Combs' latest album. So New York Police Commissioner Howard Safer, yeah, I don't know. Safer. I think I had like a dyslexic moment.
No.
We're human, guys.
Yeah, I get tripped up by all these names.
Yeah, for sure. So that Combs and 2 others, a bodyguard and driver, face both the weapon charge and one for possession of stolen property. Police spotted a pistol in the right front seat of the vehicle, which was stopped around 2:30 a.m. Monday after it left the scene of the shootings and ran a red light. None of the occupants claimed possession of the weapon, which reportedly had been listed as stolen in Georgia, Safer said. Yeah. Combs and Lopez were held for hours at the Midtown South Precinct before the charges were announced at about noon at City Hall. Police initially said Lopez would be charged, but a few hours later, Manhattan prosecutors changed their minds and she was released. He was arraigned. Combs was released after a $10,000 bail. He is due back in court on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Arrest was the 2nd this year for Combs. So, it basically says that he was charged in April with felony assault after an attack of being a top-selling. Wake up a little bit. So I wanted to get that figure out there. I think it was like 130 million. Yeah. So it was the 2nd arrest for the year. His company generated nearly 130 million last year for the Bertelsmann Music Group, the Germany-based entertainment conglomerate. Bad Boy is a joint venture with Arista Records, which is wholly owned by BMG. So you're starting to see how all of these are connected.
And it would be bad press for a lot of these entities
from the top. Yep. He was charged in April with felony assault after an attack on Interscope. Executive Steve Stout. Yeah, he basically went into Universal Music Group and two of Combs' bodyguards went into Universal Music Group and got kicked out. So Combs pled guilty in September to a reduced harassment violation. So, the thing is, he's been arrested time and time again with no criminal record is kind of the gist of that.
Yeah,
so
this is kind of like the ongoing
potentially
theme.
Getting away with something. Yeah. Due to his connections.
Yeah, and he is basically the prodigy of Clive Davis, right? And we talked about Clive Davis in our earlier episodes where people, brought up, things about his past where he's escaped the law. So it's just kind of like this ongoing thing, and it's like you can, if you eliminate all the impossible, like whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. And so like you're eliminating the possibility that these people are not doing bad things. So it must be the truth that they're just getting off. At least that's the way it's coming off. But yeah, so in March of 2001, after 22 hours of deliberation, Diddy and his bodyguard were acquitted on all charges. They argued self-defense.
Of course they were.
Yeah, self-defense. But you know, when you defend your home from like a mob of people coming at you, and you're like you're holding a gun, whatever, you can get thrown in jail if you're just like a regular person. But if you're in like a crowded area and you're like shooting off shots, you get off, even though you could have really killed somebody. But yeah, he claimed he thought he was being shot at. So that was his self-defense argument.
Right. And yet Shine was actually convicted on several counts: 2 assault charges, unlawful weapon possession, reckless endangerment, and luckily avoided attempted murder. So he ended up with 10 years behind bars. Kind of some theories on why Diddy got off is the self-defense and jury persuasion, lack of prosecution, I would say, because his defense team, led by Johnny Cochran, we've heard that name millions of times, and Ben Brafman argued he fired a warning shot, believing he was under attack after being threatened by Scar Allen. The jury accepted this narrative, and then he was just acquitted of all charges, including gun possession and bribery, in March 2001. Now, the second thing is a ballistics and reasonable doubt. There was reasonable doubt because ballistic experts suggested the bullets causing bystander injuries didn't match the firearm that Diddy possessed. Why Shine was convicted? More direct involvement. He was charged not only with gun possession, but also the actual shootings. He claimed he fired into the ceiling, but eyewitnesses identified him as the one that hit the victims, specifically Netania Rubin, who was shot in the face. And the findings from the jury in the ballistics essentially matched up. So that is why he was sentenced to the 10 years in prison. The stolen 9mm semi-automatic pistol was found in the trunk of the 1999 Lincoln Navigator after a brief police chase. But neither Diddy nor Lopez were charged with possessing the gun. The ballistics evidence showed that the shots fired basically like linked up with Shine's gun. And so
the one he made claim to.
Yeah. So like, was he the patsy? Quite possibly. The casings did match, right?
Yeah. So, it is it is quite funny. Not funny, haha, but like really interesting because you think about all this kind of stuff. So it turns out that 9mm in JLo's trunk, it was stolen. We talked about that earlier, and tied directly to all this chaos. But even with that gun literally under their feet, only Shine got pinned. Ballistics and eyewitnesses did him in. Netania Rubin, one of the injured clubgoers, later shared that Diddy was actually the one who allegedly shot her in the face. So she's the recipient of the gunfire, and she's the one who said that it was Diddy that did it. She ultimately received a $1.8 million settlement after suing Diddy under a confidentiality agreement. Which basically means
he never ended up back in court. Right.
So he was able to settle on this charge, but it's that always like baffles me too with that. But part of this deal was that Rubin agreed not to talk publicly about the details. So like the exact amount she received, even though it was reported that it was 1.8 million, any admissions of guilt, if there were any made, and the evidence that may have emerged during civil discovery. So that anything like that had to do with the fallout from here, any kind of like civil disputes that came from this whole thing, that was part of the agreement, that they couldn't go back and charge him criminally for this crime. So Diddy also likely agreed to not publicly deny certain things about her claim, depending on the terms. So that was the agreement. She got paid, but is that what we're doing here? Like, if he was guilty, if he was the one that did it, it's like you could just pay people off. People that are not really making a lot of money, they'll accept the money, and these guys will just go along, just keep hurting people, keep doing bad things. But all is well that ends well, right? Because people got paid. You know, it's just so stupid.
I am so just jaded from the amount of corruption that people of power are getting away with.
Mhm.
You know, so many things we could intertwine that with, but let's get back to this. The whispers never stopped. Like, people were still talking about this years later. There were claims that Diddy did joke about this shooting, and he bragged J-Lo was being used as a gun mule, right? And even tried to bribe jurors. None of it stuck. This is all alleged. This is all gossip. But who knows, right?
Yeah. And he comes off as that too. I think he really loves to feel like he got over, that he has that power.
He's like invincible somehow.
Yeah, I think he gets drunk on it. So him bragging about something like that, if it actually did happen and he did brag about it, it's totally part of his character. And then J-Lo, she barely spoke on it. Of course, she probably just wanted to forget the whole thing ever happened.
I don't like J-Lo either. I don't like J-Lo
I'm not a big fan of her.
To be used as a gun mule is next level.
And who knows? That might have been her initiation into the star world. Like, that was kind of like her showing her loyalty by being part of this whole crazy chaos.
Prior to '99, wasn't she?
She wasn't a major superstar, but at any moment they can pull the plug on your career. So you never know if you're being tested at any given moment. At least that's how I look at it. I think that they're constantly being tested for their loyalty, and when they get put in situations like this, they have to just kind of roll with it if they want to stay in the game. But in a 2000 Elle interview, she called the night a complete nightmare, and she said that she had absolutely no idea what was going on. So she's basically just like, I don't know, like, don't ask me about this anymore. I'm not going to really give you much. That's about it. It was a nightmare, and I didn't even know what the hell was going on. So that was her take.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, privilege and power and violence. It was a massive legal battle. Diddy got acquitted. Shine went to jail. J-Lo got caught in the crossfires, and it seems like Netanya walked away with the justice, even in a settlement. I know that you have more information in regards to the aftermath of what happened to Shine, though.
Yeah, so remember I said we were going to get back to Shine. Something that is maybe a dot to connect. We don't know, but it's definitely interesting, and that's why we're bringing it up. So on February 16, 2010, 4 months after being deported to Belize upon his release from prison after serving his time, Shine signed a 7-figure deal with Def Jam. So he was essentially back in the game money-wise. In May 2010, Shine was appointed the Belize Music and Goodwill Ambassador. So over the years, he brought Combs, Kanye West, Jay Prince to Belize, promoted the country, and worked with its youth. So, yeah.
Okay. What type of government does Belize have?
I don't know. When you go into these other countries, like, there could be this whole, like, it looks like there's a structure, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No.
It could just be all for show. We don't know.
Yeah. That isn't very reassuring.
No.
That he had so much power. But, let's see. I mean, in 2020, he was nominated by the center-right Belize United Democratic Party. We did get this information online. Like, I don't know what center-right means in relation to it being democratic. However, he was nominated to be in the Belize city-based Mesopotamia constitute.
Constitutionally, in the Belize in general election.
Election. And then he won the seat of House Representatives for Mesopotamia. Like, this, like, I don't know. This doesn't feel like this is like real history. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, and
real
it
quick.
also doesn't feel like he was. It kind of feels like he was being rewarded for dealing with a big punishment. So now that you have an idea of who he is and what he's done since completing his prison sentence, I'm getting vibes that he took the fall for Diddy and possibly J-Lo as well, and was given a prize when he got out for doing so. Another dot to add to this, there's a guy named Mark Curry, who is a former artist signed to Bad Boy Records, the label founded by Sean Diddy Combs, of course. Under Diddy's mentorship, Curry and Shine were close, and Curry and Shine even lived together at one and there's some allegations that he has as well. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm just following up real quickly with the type of government. It is a constitutional monarchy, and it is a single or uniform entity. So even though it's known as a democratic system, there's really only one organization in which the power of the separate constituent parts are vested in the central body. So it doesn't seem to be a whole lot of dissenting parties from what I can see. So
yeah,
let's
just like for show.
Yeah.
Because you still have that hierarchy.
Right, exactly. So, back to when Curry and Shine lived together. Curry alleged and publicly claimed that, again, another connection here, that Diddy paid Shine $1 million via L.A. Reid at Def Jam, the same record company that gave Shine that 7-figure deal upon release from prison, to take the fall. What did I say earlier about a patsy? For the 1999 Club New York shooting, effectively serving prison time on Diddy's behalf. Okay, so Curry asserted that this was a secret payoff, an orchestrated arrangement to protect Diddy, while Shine endured a 10-year sentence. Curry's allegations are, surprise, surprise, uncorroborated, surprise, surprise, alleged, because no independent evidence has confirmed the alleged payment or deal or anything else as you would expect, basically. He denies the allegations and has previously won legal battles. So, why would this be any different? However, it does say with more, was this truly self-defense?
Right.
Or protection of an empire. It seems as if there's always some special protection for people in power. They always have the resources to get themselves out of hot water and then control or influence those in media to make them look good and, do a ton of PR and quiet the negative PR storm from the outside media that usually does follow this type of thing.
Yep. It got the whole. It's a system. It's like a whole system of protection and control.
Yep.
Now, before we start on the next segment, let's watch a quick clip that started everyone talking about the evil secrets of those in Hollywood. I mean, there were people talking about this for decades and decades and decades, but the masses really got on board after this viral interview that dropped on January 5th, 2024, of comedian Cat Williams on the Shannon Sharp podcast called Club Shay Shay. Just to give you all an idea of how popular this episode was, it garnered 23 million views just in the first 3 days. Everyone was talking about it. And to the shock of the former football player Sharp and all of us watching, of course, Cat Williams was extremely candid, and he was dropping names left and right, saying how the hammer was coming down on everyone and anyone, no matter who you are, who has broken the law or done dirt in the dark. So, we definitely wanted you guys to hear this clip. So let's just pull that up.
The one comedian that we've been sitting here doing this interview that you hold in very high regard is Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million. You said, tell the story.
That's right.
I'm gonna let you tell it.
No, you're
No,
the best.
I want you to tell it.
You really are the best. You proving it here today. As much as I'm proving it, you proving it. You proving it.
He's a smooth talker,
yeah, that
too.
wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that he lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him 50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down 50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no.
Yeah, so I'm sure you all heard Kat talking about turning down $50 million, which means in Hollywood to maybe do a movie or something. And in the same breath, and this is why he's brilliant. He brings up Diddy, saying Diddy he'd be wanting to party, and you got to tell him no. And that quote by Williams has since become on everybody's tongue. It's like a household thing. And it could be very frustrating to see that after all this time since this interview, because again, this was January of 2024, we have only seen the fall of one powerful individual out of all of this, Diddy. But hopefully this train will keep on rolling and all of those involved in this evil will be brought to justice. But, he basically set the world up for the fall of the stars.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't checked that out, go check that out. It's the Shannon Sharp podcast, Cat Williams interview. It's long, but I'm telling you, grab some popcorn. You'll be glued. The stuff that he says is crazy.
Yeah, it's wild too, because he's pretty much saying that Dave Chappelle turns down deals all the time if it doesn't align with what he wants to do.
And I think he went to Africa too, Dave Chappelle, after all of that. I think he went to kind of clear his head or whatever.
Yeah. And that Diddy keeps pushing people. As you know, a lot of parties in Hollywood, things happen. They have blackmail over you. They
make you sign NDAs just to get into
they force you into a specific lifestyle.
They get you in compromising positions, maybe, and maybe record
I saw a video of actually resurfacing with Justin on his birthday, and I don't remember what year it was. Maybe
when he's putting his jacket on that he got as a present.
I don't know. It was when he had blonde, bleach blonde hair, but he was kind of stumbling around. And
he looked like he was trying to gain his focus. He was just he was definitely on something. Can't say it was for sure, but you can just tell.
Yeah, it was like a humiliation initiation ritual.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that too, because again, if you have people that you're propping up to make influential, to where the masses are going to listen to everything they say, wear what they wear, speak the same language, even with when the Kardashians got really famous, everybody was talking like the Kardashians, that was the way to talk and stuff like that. Right.
Pam
with the everybody was doing it. These people that are above them are not going to want to give them free reign to influence. So you have to have some kind of control over these people. I'm not saying you do, but this is probably what they believe is they have to have control over to them, to where if they tell them no, you're not going to talk about that, they listen, because you're basically giving them a lot of power. So that just seems like what I see, when it comes, everybody's has their, moments in life when they're growing up and they're going out and they're hanging out and stuff like that. But the stuff that these guys do, and they have a ton of money. It's just wild. But yeah, so, why don't we get into what everybody's here for, the Diddy trial?
Yeah, absolutely. So it can be very disheartening, to relive all this. It's still fresh in a lot of people's minds too. You know what I mean? But fast forward to present time, Diddy doesn't seem to be getting off that easy anymore. or does he? So let's get into the trial of the United States versus Sean Diddy Combs.
AKA all the aliases.
Yeah. We are tackling the seismic saga of this federal trial, which happened while prosecuting alleged sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for prostitution, I believe, across state lines, and this all being based in New York City.
Yeah, we'll lay out the timeline. Sean Combs is accused of running a criminal enterprise. Those are the RICO charges for over a decade that used his business empire to traffic women, abuse victims, distribute drugs, obstruct justice, and use violence and bribery to maintain control and silence any dissent.
Any dissent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. Kidding. But it's crazy. Okay, buckle up, pocket friends.
Yeah.
We've got to talk about the bombshell incident. The indictment that's shaken the entire industry. Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, I guess.
Yeah, I think I just blocked out that whole era of him being called Love, but whatever.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't either, but apparently that's
Yeah.
the thing. I remember when people were just calling him Puff, but it's like...
Yeah, I remember Puff.
Mm-hmm.
Has been federally charged in a criminal case that reads like a script for crime drama. I mean, that's what court cases are. It's like a real life crime drama.
Yeah, courtroom drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like RICO, it's like RICO meets Eyes Wide Shut. And if you don't know the film, maybe you should check it out. And if you know, you know. Yeah, it's like it's one of those films. It was made by a guy named Stanley Kubrick that apparently is the one who allegedly made the landing on the moon video. You know, that was like the fake one, you know, back in time there where, you know, we landed on the moon and everybody says that we didn't. And he's allegedly he's the one that made it. But they're also saying about that movie that there were some like missing parts to it that he wanted to put in. And he mysteriously passed away after making this movie. But it's really kind of like, it goes into like the evilness of the elites and possibly what stuff that they do. So, but you know, all of this is like way dark, and the feds hit him with a whole racketeering conspiracy charge, count one, and this isn't some minor business fraud. We're talking the sex trafficking, the forced labor, kidnapping, bribery, obstruction of justice, drug distribution, arson, and illegal firearms with defaced serial numbers. I mean, like they're throwing the book at him, and he had a lot for them to work with.
Yeah, like this is insane. So I still can't believe the verdict, but
no,
we'll see. We'll see what happens to people who, I mean, everyone knows the verdict. What are we kidding? But, you know, as we go over this, it will become more and more outrageous how he got what he got and got off on what he got off on. So the indictment said Combs ran what they're calling the Combs Enterprise, a criminal operation wrapped in the glitz of bad boy entertainment, Combs Enterprise, and Combs Global. This included everyone from security to high-ranking staff, allegedly helping orchestrate horrific abuse. Now I know, Biddy, you're going to get more into these so-called freak-offs, and then you're going to get even into the sickening details when it comes to what was given away at that party. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. All right, so now let's talk about those so-called freak-offs. What a freaking name. These were elaborate sex parties Combs allegedly arranged, where women were coerced into sex acts with male sex workers. They were allegedly drugged, filmed without consent, and sometimes even forced to stay hidden for days after being assaulted. And the details are sickening. He allegedly
Is it because they were hidden for days so that if they were to get a rape kit, it no longer would be
like the evidence wouldn't really be there anymore? It's very possible.
Yeah,
it's very possible. But also, okay, so hear this next thing, because this also might be a reason. He allegedly used drugs like cocaine, ketamine, GHB. He even set up IV bags for people to recover afterwards from all of the drugs and all of the, whatever the heck else was going on there. So that also might be a thing too. It's like, you're not leaving here until you're straightened up. Like, who knows?
I mean, it's not to be devil's advocate whatsoever. But living in Southern California, I do know people who often have parties, of course, consensual parties, and they will have like those mobile IV stations come to their house to just kind of detox at home. But to me, this seems more like a forced detox so that nothing would be on record.
Yeah, it's very, very, very possible. And if there are huge celebrities that are there too, I'm sure that they were down to get these IV bags. And then you got the baby oil. There were the thousands of bottles that were seized, along with narcotics and firearms. And let's not forget, he didn't just abuse women. The indictment claims he used violence against his employees, witnesses, tried to bribe hotel staff into silence, and he even used threats and blackmail via those hidden recordings to keep people quiet. So this is a consensus from a lot of the witnesses. A lot of anybody who's like encountered him, they all are singing the same tune. So it's really crazy. But, as we found when we had to go through that devastating Casey Anthony trial, you have to prove it in court.
Yeah.
And, and you don't want even though our justice system is like a hot mess, you don't want to fully crash it to the ground either, because then they can just, like you think about in that movie Back to the Future, where he goes, they abolished all the lawyers, so justice system works swiftly. Like you get arrested, that's it, you're sentenced. Like we don't want that either. So it's like we gotta iron out what's going on and who the corrupt people are. Like we have to extract the cancer from the system that's supposed to work.
Yeah. I definitely do agree with you, right?
It just sucks. I feel like we're always up against the wall between our rights and getting to the people that are manipulating the system. It really sucks.
Yeah, so for counts 2 and 4, those were the sex trafficking charges. The feds say he specifically coerced and trafficked a person referred to as victim 1 for almost a decade, from 2009 to 2018, using force, fraud, and threats. Victim 1, still to this day, remains unidentified to the public.
Yeah, and you know what? I have this like really terrible thought in my head, like, and this is really getting into tinfoil status, tinfoil hat stuff.
Yeah.
But like, what if they if you think that the system has always been protecting Diddy, and maybe this was just like, you remember how we were talking about the last, he was like falling from grace as far as like his work with Diageo and all of that, and he was like leveling up. Like, what if they allowed this all to happen to kind of bring all of anybody who was going to say anything to, so that way they can be identified by Diddy and anybody else in the courtroom? Like, even though they weren't released to the public, like, aren't these people in there testifying? I don't know. I hope not. I mean, that's just like my real, like, the worry when my mind starts like going in my head, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I really hope not. But, because people like were really brave to come out and stand and sit in front of him and like relive all of this and get grilled by the defense attorneys. But yeah,
well,
so
that's why, again, that's why a lot of victims don't step forward, because reliving that trauma, right? If you
and having
have
to say it in front of your abuser.
well, right. And if you specifically have a very vivid, like, photographic memory, reliving that could rehash really complex PTSD and trauma.
Yeah.
And, if any of these victims were, using coping mechanisms, as far as alcohol
Blocking it out. Oh yeah.
Anesthetizing I was
everything.
thinking, right. I was thinking more along those lines. It could trigger a break, and it could trigger going back to your old ways, right? To try to disassociate.
Yeah, it's very possible, especially if you spent a whole decade dealing with these drugs and everything. I imagine it would, if you got clean, it could be a very delicate issue. But yeah, so count 3 and 5 are about the transporting women across state and international lines for prostitution. And this allegedly continued all the way through 2024.
Yeah, and if convicted, Diddy could have lost everything tied to, all of his enterprises, businesses, and assets, and the government's ready to take substitute assets if he's hidden the goods, right?
Yeah, and don't skip the special sentencing factor. They say he knowingly used coercion to force people into commercial sex acts across borders. That's major time. So they were really trying to build, the prosecution here was really trying to build where not only would he end up in jail for life, but all of his assets, everything, his global company, everything would be confiscated. Like he would have nothing left. So like if Diddy thought that he was gonna, spend life in prison, but he was gonna be able to pay off, guys around to like do his bidding inside jail and have people protect him and stuff like that, he wouldn't have had money to do so, or at least, unless he had offshore stuff. But yeah. So they were coming after him hard body.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just going over everything, and I'm just still shocked. So this is still only the beginning. We'll be digging deeper into the witness testimonies, the evidence, and celebrity connections. This trial had so many alleged ties to not only Diddy, but of course, possibly many key figures in Hollywood and beyond. So, like, think of it this way, right? Like, if he was convicted on all accounts, it wouldn't have just been the music industry shaking. It would have been a takedown and destruction of the entire power structure behind it. And can Hollywood let that happen?
Absolutely not. Their influence and being beloved by the public is their meal ticket. If how they say, like, would be nothing without you, the fans. Like, they're not lying. They really wouldn't be anything without people watching them and idolizing them. So the curtain's lifting, and what's behind it, it ain't glamorous. All the glitters isn't gold and all of those euphemisms. So if you haven't already by now, grab a snack, something to hydrate, and let's just dive into this trial, shall we? I'll give you guys a moment. Get your popcorn popping. So the pre-trial storm, November 16th, 2023 is when Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit alleging rape, sex trafficking, and abuse. She settled within 24 hours for $20 million. Now, you may be asking yourselves, why the quick $20 million settlement? So you guys remember, and you saw it on our cold open, the horrible 2016 hotel assault video. In May of last year, CNN obtained the footage from that hotel, the Intercontinental in LA, showing Diddy grabbing, kicking her in the face, shoving Cassie outside an elevator, dragging her. Graphic evidence supporting her civil claims. Then you have former CIA FBI agent Tracy Walder, who noted that this video, quote, motivated the quick settlement because it solidified Ventura's allegations beyond dispute. It was there for everybody to see. And civil suits don't require proof beyond a reasonable doubt, like in a criminal case, but assault videos often lead prosecutors to criminal inquiry. And that's what we were talking about earlier with the settlement with Natanya Rubin, is you couldn't kind of use that to go into criminal inquiry. So within weeks after the video leaked, federal raids occurred, March 2024, and by September 2024, Diddy was federally indicted on serious charges, including the sex trafficking and racketeering. And the $20 million settlements, though substantial, allowed Diddy to control the narrative and limitations, like confidentiality, potentially avoiding trial disclosures, greater financial loss, and long-term reputational damage. So, again, he paid off. Yeah.
Now, was the evidence too strong to fight? The surveillance footage showed physical assault. It was a very clear video, and it was matching Ventura's claims in detail. And, it gave the prosecution like a compelling visual anchor for patterns of abuse. You can't really dispute that in court. And his defense likely evaluated that mounting a trial defense risked even more damaging disclosures, including other accusers and records from FBI raids that could strengthen future criminal cases. So, the timeline goes to March 25th of 2024. DHS raids Diddy's homes in LA, in Miami, and NYC. Seized devices, drugs, AR-15s, baby oils, lubricants, like everything. Everything that could fuel this trafficking investigation. And Ventura's lawsuit and the video helped jumpstart a federal criminal investigation, leading to September 2024, a federal indictment, and that he was indicted on 19 federal counts.
Yeah, and the defense, they really tried to argue to not allow that video to play in court because it'll be played in front of a jury, but the judge allowed it. He was like, nope, we're playing it. As you could see on our thumbnail, it was played in court. So now fast forward a little to October 2024, Tony Busby. So he's an attorney. He's the one that has like the 120 accusers that came forward. I just want, because he says it all really well. I actually have a video showing Tony Busby when he came out with a press conference about the allegations of the accusers he is representing. And just keep this in mind, folks, because when we tell you at the end of all of this that it may not be the end, even though we didn't get the justice we were hoping for when it came to Diddy, and we still don't know what the sentencing is going to be yet, but just listen to what he says and the kind of accusations that are being made and the lawsuits that he's putting together, because it gives a glimmer of hope for hopefully future.
I'm a lawyer here in Houston. We've handled over the last 25 years some very big and very important cases. I believe that this one may surpass them all. The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that really wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world. We now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases. Our law firms have been retained by 120 individuals at this point. It is evenly divided between males and females. There are 60 males and 60 females. 62% identify as African American, 30% are white, and the remainder are Hispanic or Asian. The victims are from more than 25 states. When we talk about the ages of the victims when the conduct occurred, it's shocking. Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of. The conduct at issue spans from the years 1991 all the way till this year, 2024. Now, although most of the victims who have stepped forward were victimized after 2015, this has been going on for a very long time. Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, the all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions.
Yeah, so then he just kind of goes on to detail everything, but that's all still in play. You know, he still has like 100 different individuals that he's filing lawsuits for. So he accused Jay-Z's team Rock Nation of orchestrating falsehoods. And he claimed that Rock Nation, along with attorneys and investigators, hired operatives with fake credentials to approach people he previously represented, to try and, you know, discredit Tony Busby, to try and see if they can get him on some kind of charges, some malpractice, you know, just something where they can stop him, because he was getting somewhere where these people were going to have, like, whether or not they're guilty, they were going to see their day in court.
Right.
And these operatives allegedly offered financial incentives up to $10,000 to persuade his former clients to file lawsuits against his firm. Busby argues this was a coordinated campaign intended to intimidate him and undermine his major cases against Diddy, and also Jay-Z. So Jay-Z is part of this. That's the Rock Nation connection. Rock Nation called the lawsuit a sham, labeling it a distraction meant to deflect from other legal pressures. They, along with law firms MJ Legal, Quinn Emanuel, and attorney Marcy Croft, have denied wrongdoing, calling the allegations baseless. Jay-Z filed defamation suit. Suit was dismissed as evidence wasn't admissible. So that's still all going on behind the scenes. So I'm really hoping for that. I mean, you heard the youngest at the time of the abuse was 9 years old. And he when he went through all of this, like when he was talking about, you know, all the people that were coming to him and he was doing these press conferences, he had way more people. He had to vet all these people because, you know, in situations like this, you have people coming out of the woodwork lying. I wouldn't even be surprised if they were getting sent duds, like the people that are being accused were sending people to pretend, like, you know, to kind of throw them off the track, maybe spread their resources out, slow them down by and, you know, looking into somebody who, you know, really had nothing to do with any of this. So there was a lot of really funny business going on. But he's still working on it. So
yeah, well,
I thought to him.
Yeah, like I thought I saw something interesting about how he currently can't take on anyone in New York because he's not licensed, but he has cases in Houston and I think also LA. Is that correct?
Yep.
But like the fact that he said that there was 60 that came forward and it was like equally split between boys and girls, as
I know.
It's just, it's so grotesque. It's so wrong. Children cannot consent. I'm surprised it was a 50-50 split. I really am.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's just trying to keep it like even, whatever, because like I said, you know, he did drop certain cases and whatnot. But yeah, it's like just
I'm just surprised so many
forward.
Right. I'm just surprised that many males came forward.
That's true too, because they usually don't want to kind of out themselves. I mean, they are, you know, they'll be known as like John Doe or victim 1, victim 2 to protect their identity from the public. But, you know, we saw that with the Me Too movement. Like there was just a whole ton of women that came out. But as we're learning, as years go on, a lot of men were, you know, attacked. Terry Crews, you know, he was one that actually stood up and said that he was assaulted at a party, that he was just like walking around and the guy just kind of grabbed him, you know, in his private area. And like, you know, he was brave enough to actually come out and talk about that. But it just seems like guys, you know, kind of shy away from it, you know, maybe just because they don't want to be looked at like that. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the stigma is. I'm not a guy.
I'm not a guy. I also do not play one on TV. But, you know, just I've watched like Law and Order, SVU, and I feel like a lot of guys they just feel very confused after. They feel like a very emasculated.
Yeah.
They, are ashamed.
Maybe they feel like they won't be believed as much.
They
and
feel
then
like they won't be
already outed
believed.
themselves. And
they feel like they won't be believed as much. They feel that, a lot of men say, just run it off, work it out.
Rub some dirt in it and whatnot.
Rub some dirt in it. Don't go to therapy. Don't tell anyone. You'll be seen as weak, which I don't agree with.
Right. Especially when you're talking about being drugged.
But yeah, for sure.
I mean, come on. Like it's not like you could have fought this person off either.
Yeah. Statistically speaking, I think more women do tend to report these cases.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. For probably all the reasons.
Right. So, let's see here. We have evidence of the other odd moments of possible intimidation that have been alleged by influencers involving this case, and that who are also covering it. Let's listen to podcaster and political commentator Amalia Ekpanobi and her story of being called by a friend of hers who used to be her roommate, talking about being approached by random men at home and asked about the coverage of the Diddy case. So this is an extremely fishy situation when you think about it. Let's play part of the clip and evaluate it further.
Apparently these guys are still at the door. Immediately when I pick up the phone, she's like, okay, when she picks up the phone, you're on speaker. And I'm like, what is going on? So one guy starts to speak up, and I'm sensing like a little bit of nervousness in his voice, but he's still there. He's talking. He's got what I would say is like a medium to thick-ish New York accent. And he's saying, we just wanted to come and talk to you about the things that you speak about on your channel, and, whether or not somebody pays you to say the things that you say. And it was a very just vague question. I didn't know exactly how to answer that. So I answered back and said, nobody pays me to say anything that I say on my channel. You guys know we've tried a couple sponsors on this show once or twice long ago. We've had no sponsors since. We get paid, through YouTube ad revenue and the ad revenue from different platforms, but nobody's paying me directly to say anything. Now he goes on to say, to sort of talk about topics that I talk about on this show. And the immediate topic that he jumps to is, you talk about P. Diddy and celebrities. Mind you, again, this guy's stumbling over his words, and he's not necessarily sounding so fluent in whatever message he's trying to get across. And I put this on speaker. So mind you, Taylor's on Zoom from Nashville. I have the phone to this microphone here. He's listening to everything that's being said. Risa is also there listening to everything that's being said. Okay. So I tell them, I'm not paid by anybody to do this. Why is it that you're asking these things? What are you interested in doing or hearing? And they said, if you were being paid by people to promote a certain message, we were here to, offer you something else. And again, they go through the topics that I talk about on my show, and immediately it's P. Diddy and his connection to other celebrities. So all the red flags are going up. In my mind here, hairs up on the back of my neck. I actually shot Risa a text at this very moment in the conversation and said like something along the lines of get away from these guys. I'll actually go back and read it so I know exactly what I said. Get away from this guy. Because at this point, only one man was speaking. Again, white man, thick-ish New York accent. Now, I'm probing this guy. Who do you work for? What is it that you're trying to pay me to do? Who are you inquiring about? What specifically are you asking me? Am I being paid to say on my channel? And this guy is just stumbling over his words. He doesn't know what to say. He starts saying, I watch your channel. I'm a fan of your show. I appreciate the things you talk about. And then he goes back to the whole P. Diddy and this topic and this topic and this topic. So whoever was with this guy, presumably his boss, and at least this is what he explains himself to be, a second guy jumps into the conversation. Now, this guy sounds a little bit more confident than the last guy. And he jumps in and he says, oh, well, we're just here to ask you whether or not you've been paid to talk about this specific topic on your channel. And if so, we want to know who is paying you. But now that we know that, nobody's paying you, there's no further information we need to gather, we're going to see ourselves out and it will be okay.
Yeah. So what I kind of got from that is that these were, I don't know, they were either like
goons,
actual PIs. They were a part of, said crew. They were sent out. Violence could have possibly been an option, but she had her bases covered because she had witnesses, right? And maybe they caught on to that.
Yeah, and I think that
look, I'm just a podcaster.
Right. And I think that was like her ex-roommate. I think that she used to live at this location. So it was like they looked it up to find out where she lived and went there. And this is why this person called her on the phone.
Right.
And it's crazy too, because they, like the one guy was like stumbling over his words, the other guy was a little more strong or whatever, but they really just wanted to know, if she was getting paid. But then like that would have been like whatever, like, are you getting paid to say the things you're saying? But then they offered to pay her more
to switch up,
to switch up or to stop or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really crazy. It's extremely fishy when you think about it. And you could say these celebrities are possibly innocent and just want the chatter to stop because it would ruin their reputations when they're not guilty. But it also begs the question, if you are in fact innocent, why work so hard to silence those making inquiries and try to get people on your side?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, like, you nailed it. Like, you absolutely nailed it. I think that she never had that situation happen to her before.
I mean, as podcasters ourselves, can you imagine? Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if she was working independently during that time. I know there was like one point of her career where I believe she was working for PragerU. So maybe they were like trying to determine if this was a larger network that they were dealing with, or like just a harmless independent podcaster.
Right.
Who knows, right? But you basically nailed it. I know that you also have some thoughts in regards to Jaguar Wright, who we have brought up before as well. This part gets pretty crazy as well.
Yeah, so Jaguar Wright, she's an American R&B neo soul singer-songwriter, best known for her powerful vocals and candid, socially conscious lyricism. She rose to prominence in the late 1990s after being discovered by The Roots. She lent backup vocals to Jay-Z on MTV Unplugged in 2001 on the track Song Cry. So if you're from that era, you'll know this song. I gotta make this song cry. That beautiful sound, that singer in the background that's kind of underscoring the whole rap song. That's Jaguar Wright. I mean, she's extremely talented. And she released her own debut solo album, Denials, Delusions, and Decisions in 2002. Wright, who has been on many podcasts over the past couple of years, allegedly exposing many, many crimes by not only Diddy, but Jay-Z, even Beyonce, she's called out. She's mentioned J-Lo a bunch of times where she like comes into the camera and she's like, J-Lo should definitely be charged. Like, she's again, like just like Cat Williams. And she's said that Cat Williams is kind of like her mentor in all of this and being like extremely candid. She's actually come out and said that. But that's just kind of like the same vibe. Like she just no hair on her tongue. And even going as far as calling out Clive Davis, which is another one that she's
which is brave
away out, which is very brave. Yeah. And calling him out, not only implicated in his own crimes, but as the groomer of Diddy and being behind a lot of conspiracies, like, get this, the death of Whitney Houston. It's a huge one that she's talked about. So, I mean, people were just like glued to their phones, TVs, wherever you watch your podcast on. just waiting for the next time that she would jump on. And anytime any of her videos, anytime she was on a podcast, the numbers would skyrocket. They would be in the millions whenever she was on, because people could not wait to hear the next person she was gonna talk about, all the different liaisons and crazy stuff that was going on in the industry.
Yeah, and she was actually present in the courtroom for the Diddy's trial's opening week. So she was spotted arriving and gave statements to the media, calling the trial a long overdue reckoning for the music industry. That was everyone's hope, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And Wright insists that she's been here as a whistleblower who's spoken out on Diddy's dark side for years. Again, anyone who tries to speak out against these figures, try to other people try to destroy their credibility, essentially, right? We had it with Orlando Brown. We had it with, a lot of people have tried to say that Jaguar Wright's recollection of events are fabricated. There's been a lot of people trying to take her down, but she claims to have been present at numerous parties and even tried to rescue women, often saying that she is personally working and protecting some victims. So commentators like, is it Torre?
Torre, yeah.
Torre, well-known American author, pretty much jack of all trades, also has had a career in music journalism, is a big cultural critic and podcaster and TV personality. Has come out multiple times saying, like I said, Jaguar isn't credible. Like I said, a lot of people have tried to debunk her credibility. In fact, she's written many books in regard to this exact topic. And she's written for the Rolling Stone, the New Yorker, the Daily Beast, and different outlets like that. She said the freak-offs were small private sessions. This is a really weird hill to die on.
Right.
To actually defend these degenerate, perversive Hollywood parties. I highly doubt they were small. I highly doubt. I mean, if there were private sessions, I'm sure there was an elite list to get in. So, that could be accurate in some sense. But I still think that they were large galleries, hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And, this same media figure has questioned where Jaguar Wright's claims actually occurred when it comes to rescuing these women. And others, however, they've definitely defended Wright, pointing out that she has been raising the alarm for years and has not faced legal repercussions for her statements. So again, we talk about libel, we talk about slander. She has not been touched, which could mean that there is a lot of truth to her statements.
Yeah, I mean, it is very odd that you see how quickly people sue for defamation. It's the fact that she hasn't been is really wild. And Wright continues to share impassioned social media posts, including cryptic Instagram reels and commentary, underscoring her role as a truth teller amid controversy. Specifically for Diddy, she claims the freak-off tapes were sold on the dark web for $500 million, involving guests including minors and celebrities.
That's so disturbing.
It's so disturbing.
So disturbing.
It says minors were dressed as prostitutes and auctioned as NFTs. I get the chills all over my body. I can't even believe the things that I'm saying out of my mouth. But yeah, let's just check out a quick article that kind of goes into this claim by Wright. So from Radar, Diddy freak-off videos being traded on darknet for up to 500 million, singer Jaguar Wright claims. And I'm sure you recognize one very prominent person right here, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah.
I have something to say. I have something to say, but I'm
dude, I barely can even watch TV anymore.
Is this why he has the 25-year-old girlfriend cut off?
I don't know. I don't know, because maybe even the girl can be his beard. Like maybe he's not even like into women. We don't even know. But
I mean, that's a stretch. Like you have seen him out with multiple women.
I mean, I have, but you know, it is possible. It is possible that he can be behind the scenes.
I mean, yeah. I kind of think about it this way though. Like when you're dealing with trauma, like specifically complex PTSD, your brain kind of freezes at the age in which the trauma happened. So if this is when he was like under 25 and his like frontal lobe wasn't fully developed.
Oh, you're going there. All right.
I always go there. I always go there.
I know the frontal lobe conversation. No, but
I always go there.
It's very plausible because you know, if you think about people are impressionable before that.
Well, right. So if all this was going on right before his brain fully functioned at 25, perhaps he's like stuck at the age that he attended his parties. Maybe he always just has felt younger, and that's why he's gone for younger. Or maybe because older men went after him, but he's into women. He goes after women who were that age. Now, again, I am not trying to say he's some type of predator. I believe he was a victim in this, but it's just a theory. I think it's a plausible theory to consider.
Yeah, maybe. And you know, a lot of this stuff remains to be seen. When you think about all the people that could be implicated in a lot of these rings and a lot of what's going on in Hollywood, they could be a lot of your favorites. I mean, I love Leonardo DiCaprio growing up. I mean, I was on that line waiting when the Titanic movie came out. I watched anything he ever made.
With him. Yeah, like this is gonna age us, but like J17 magazine.
Yeah, Pop. What was it? Pop magazine, like all of those things. Tiger like you rip out the Tiger Beat. You rip out the page and you put it on your wall. Yeah. But yeah, so Sean Diddy Combs had allegedly sold a freak up party tape for $500 million on the dark web. RadarOnline.com can reveal R&B singer and songwriter Jaguar Wright claims several celebrities were included in the alleged video, including Justin Bieber. That's somebody that she brings up a lot. Chris Brown, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, and Drake. So this is what she's claiming. During a recent interview, Wright was asked if Diddy is protecting people or if people are protecting him. She answered, "Oh no, he's selling it because he needs the cash. The last freak off tape that just sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage." Wright explained how dark coin prevents the video from leaking out of the dark web. She said most people don't even know that the dark coin exists, but that's how they're trading for all of the flesh they sell. That's why I became so outraged last year when the girls, when the twins turned 16, talking about Diddy's two younger daughters, and he had them dressed like prostitutes, and then he auctioned them off as NFTs. The NTF, what? Yeah. So these are So these are the kind of things that she talks about. She talks about like Steve Harvey giving over his daughter. Like there is a lot of stuff that she said, and this is why people were glued to any podcast she was on, because it was so crazy and the detail and everything that she was saying, and it was just like rattling from her mouth. The NTF was attached to that dark coin, you know, effing coin, she said. There's no suggestion the celebrities she named were involved in any wrongdoing. Jumanji actor and comedian Kevin Hart was recently caught on camera hosting one of Diddy's freak-off parties while resting next to a bathtub, speaking to the camera and holding up a microphone, while a scantily clad female partygoer sits alongside him. During the clip, one of the girls' hair goes up in flames after catching fire. I mean, this is just kind of like, you know, something that she's just pointing out that Hart was there. At what point in the video the actor was seen next to Diddy and his bed and said, "If we can, let's just move the camera a little this way. I don't want my shot to even come close to the bed at all." So yeah, then she goes into Ashton Kutcher. We've brought him up before. Has also gone viral after an old video of him discussing Diddy's infamous parties resurfaced on social media, and him kind of like trying to say, like, talk about talk about the parties, but then he looked like he was having an issue even being able to talk about anything about the parties. And he was just kind of like laughing about it. During an interview on the popular YouTube series Hot Ones, Kutcher told the host, "I've got a lot I can't tell, so I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm actually cycling through them. Diddy party stories, man. That was like some weird memory lane. There's no suggestion that Ashton was involved in any improperty. The Diddy case, and a source said the Diddy case is clearly gearing up to be the next Jeffrey Epstein level scandal. Everyone who is anyone in music and showbiz has probably been to one of Diddy's parties, and they will now be quaking in their boots about what might come up from there, or so we hope." So, I mean, and just like on and on. Again, like I said with the other podcast, like if you want to check out more of the kind of things that she's said, it's really, really wild. Just kind of look her up on YouTube. You just like type her in and you can find, you know, any of the podcasts she was on, and they'll all have you glued. But yeah, I mean, just like, what do you like? I don't know. I mean, you know, some things could be alleged, some things she could have saw with her own eyes. You know, some people were trying to say that she had some beef with Jay-Z and, you know, maybe not giving her the career that she wanted. And, you know, she wasn't really getting that kind of career that she wanted. And, you know, that she was like, she had a vendetta against these people. So she's like making up stories and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff that she said before Diddy was arrested.
Yeah. And again, you know, if it was defamation, she would have been quiet by now.
Mm-hmm. Or sued or something. Yeah.
Yeah, or something. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So my screen just went black on this end, so hopefully it didn't I didn't go away on here. But
no, you're here.
Yeah, let's kind of get back to the focus of the trial. At least when it comes to the jury selection and the opening statements. So on May 5th of just this year, 2025, the jury selection begins on May 12th, 2025. The opening statements were that Cassie Ventura was called to the stand. It's also good to point out that Cassie was like super pregnant, very, very pregnant at this time. And there were multiple attempts by Diddy's defense attorneys to prolong her testimony. Many believe this might have been pushed so that she would go into labor and wouldn't even be able to like finish the testimony and, you know, further weaken the case. She has since given birth to her 3-year-old daughter with husband Alex Fine. Under oath, Cassie detailed her romantic and professional relationship with Combs, which began when she was a teenager and evolved into a deeply controlling dynamic for over a decade. Again, started when she was a minor. Some of the allegations of abuse, right? She testified to being sexually assaulted, emotionally manipulated. So sexually, emotionally, physically, like this is
she was in a prison. Yeah.
She was in a toxic ass prison. Yeah. You know, it just, the abuse went on repeatedly by Combs, is what her testimony says. She describes how he isolated her from her family, from her friends, monitored her movement, coerced her into sexual situations with others under threat of retaliation. Then Ventura talks about the freak off parties, but, you know, probably people are freaking out. They're just drug fueled sex parties. They're like super crazy. She did not consent to take any drugs. She mentioned there were at least 13 male escorts that were obtained by Diddy to participate in these freak offs. Yeah. You know, one of them was Jonathan Audie, a former adult film actor who told the cops in 2018 he had been one of Diddy's sex slaves. Claimed to be engaged in roughly 15 encounters with Cassie and Diddy. But for some reason, his claims have not been further investigated. Remember the hotel surveillance video in 2016? and the payoff allegations, where she testified that after one particularly violent incident, he paid her $100,000 to ensure the hotel video never surfaced. Joke's on you. Her testimony was consistent with previous civil allegations that she made in her 2023 lawsuit, and it helped establish a pattern of coercive behavioral. Anyways, this was all central to the prosecution's case.
Yeah, she was a star witness for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this brief intro into the Diddy trial and part 4 of the Puppet Masters of Hollywood Bad Boy on Trial. Things do get crazier for here. We go more into depth with the trial. But today, you know, we kind of covered the 1999 Club New York shooting to the dropping details of Diddy's ongoing federal trial. And this is a full-blown saga of power and privilege and silence. And we will see justice, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, all we can do is hope. And let's be real. It's not just about Diddy. We say this all the time. It's about the systems that protected him as well. Just because you're super wealthy and connected shouldn't mean that you can escape prosecution, escape accountability for your crimes. The entourage, the executives, the enablers, the silence, the payoffs, the intimidation campaigns. If even half of this is true, Hollywood's got some serious reckoning and some serious explaining to do at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we've got our receipts, we've got our sources. We are connecting the dots for you guys. Just trust this investigation is definitely far from over. It's I'm like learning more and more.
Yeah, and you know, because this is such a beast of a trial, you know, we don't have in-court videos, of course, because they're not, you know, it's not open to the public like we have with Casey Anthony. But, you know, there's so much intertwined in this trial, so we thought it best to kind of break even the trial up a smidge, just so you can kind of digest like everything we went through today. I mean, we thought that it was really important to paint these pictures for you. And just a quick teaser for the next episode, the Puppet Masters of Hollywood Part 5, which will be the second part of the deep dive into the Diddy trial. We're digging into everything, the off-the-record accusations. There were leaked DM screenshots that were presented in court, which they were trying to undermine Cassie's claims and, you know, of being like coerced and being kidnapped and, you know, being held against her will and all that. Anonymous exposés and that network of women behind the scenes quietly warning each other about the industry's most dangerous men. You know, and you know, you have all these whispers, but now everybody's kind of got like that megaphone out and people are screaming it. So even though it seems like we're moving at a snail's pace, just, you know, just have faith, you guys. What is done in the dark will come to light. You know, people, if not on this earth, you know, they'll get the reckoning. They will get the justice at some point, hopefully. I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be revealing and absolutely necessary. So make sure you turn those notifications on for us wherever you listen. And you can follow both of us. You can follow Biddy at Elizabeth213A. And you can follow myself, that Valley Girl, at the Cali Melody, both on X. And don't forget to check out riseofmiddleamerica.com for exclusive Romanation content over there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we got our website here, as you guys always know, riseofmiddleamerica.com, all of our latest videos. We got all of our hosts here. And, you know, all of the podcasts, you can access everything from here. So this is really the greatest way to go. We got the Discord, everything. We even got some merch now, Valley. Just gonna kind of show you guys just a little peek into what we've got so far for the show. But here's our We got our Razorback here, Facts and Sass, in all different colors. And we have our Facts and Sass t-shirt. We're hoping to get some more merch in the future. But yeah, I always say it's the best way to support the podcast because you get to rock what, your support. You get to actually have home with you, and you still can know that you're supporting your podcasters. So thanks for vibing with us as always on Facts and Sass. I'm Biddy, your fast talking New Yorker with a finely tuned BS detector and a mouth that doesn't shut up.
And I'm Valley, your common sense advocate and always suspicious SoCal girl. So we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.